Welcome back to Undercover, Waterproofing and Underpinning Secrets, the podcast from us here at DGI Waterproofing.
Glad to be back.
If you're tuning in, you're probably thinking about keeping your basement dry, just like we are, pretty much day in and day out here at DGI.
It's what we do.
Whether you're dreaming of a finished space, maybe you just need that reliable storage, or, simply want the peace of mind a solid foundation brings. Keeping water out is priority number one for every homeowner.
Absolutely. And, it's not a static field. We're always looking at how we can improve the way we do things, the materials we use, really anything that gives you a better result.
Exactly. And that brings us right to what we're diving into today. What's actually new in basement waterproofing technology? Now, if you're picturing the same old solutions, you might be surprised.
Oh, yeah.
Things are moving fast, and some of the innovations we're seeing come onto the market this year are, well, they're genuinely impressive in how they're changing the game.
It's really a shift, isn't it? From just like reacting to water intrusion to actively preventing it in much more sophisticated ways.
That's right. We've been looking at some of the latest advancements, drawing on what we've been sharing on the DGI waterproofing blog and what we're seeing across the industry generally.
Right.
It's not just about patching leaks anymore. It's really about being smarter and building in that long-term protection right from the get-go.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how these new technologies often work together. Yeah. They're not always standalone things. They create a more comprehensive defense for your home.
Okay, so to really appreciate where we are now, maybe let's just think back a little bit. What were some of the more traditional methods we used to rely on?
Yeah, I mean, going back years ago, common approaches included things like applying, those tar-based coatings to the exterior foundation walls.
Right, the black stuff.
Exactly. Installing basic sump pumps that would just kick in once water was already there.
Reactive, basically.
Very reactive.
Yeah.
And simpler perimeter drainage systems. Now, while these served a purpose, they definitely had limitations, especially when you're dealing with more persistent or complex moisture issues.
Right. So it feels like we've moved quite a bit beyond those more basic photos. What would you say is the big picture trend we're seeing with these newer technologies?
Well, the overarching trend, I'd say, is towards solutions that are not only more effective and durable, but also smarter and, importantly, more sustainable.
Okay.
We're seeing innovations that provide stronger physical barriers, give homeowners like you more insight into their systems, and in some cases even minimize their environmental impact, which is great.
Speaking of smarter, sump pump technology has really evolved, hasn't it? It's not just a pump sitting in a bucket anymore.
Definitely not. The integration of Wi-Fi connectivity and mobile alerts is just a huge leap forward.
Yeah.
What's so valuable here, I think, is that these smart sump pumps can now notify you directly on your phone if water levels are rising unexpectedly, or maybe if the pump itself isn't functioning correctly for some reason.
Right. Before it's a disaster.
Exactly. That early warning can make all the difference in preventing a major problem.
That's huge for peace of mind. I mean, imagine being away from home, maybe on vacation, and getting an alert that allows you to call someone, take action before things get really bad.
Exactly. And it's not just about emergency notifications either. Some of these advanced systems offer, like, real-time performance monitoring. They can even send reminders for routine maintenance.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, which can help extend the life of the pump and prevent those unexpected failures. It's kind of like having a digital guardian for your basement.
That's a great way to put it, a digital guardian. Okay, now, when we look at the physical barriers themselves, we've seen some interesting developments in materials. What's new on that front that really stands out to you?
Well, we're seeing significant advancements in waterproof membranes. These new composite materials are engineered to be both incredibly durable and, crucially, much more flexible than previous generations.
Flexible, okay. Why is flexibility so important there?
Well, think about it. A home's foundation can experience minor shifts over time. Settling, expansion, contraction. This flexibility is absolutely essential for maintaining a continuous watertight seal. A rigid barrier is just much more susceptible to cracking and ultimately failure.
That makes perfect sense. So materials that can move a bit with the house, not fight against it.
Exactly.
What about the sealants we use, for filling cracks and joints? Have those seen similar improvements?
Absolutely. Traditional sealants, they could become brittle lose their effectiveness over time, particularly with big changes in temperature, freezing and thawing.
Yeah, I've seen that happen.
Right. The latest sealants utilize advanced polymers that can withstand a much wider range of temperatures and environmental stresses. This basically results in a longer lasting and much more reliable barrier against water getting in.
Okay, better flexibility, better sealants. Now, this next one sounds almost too good to be true. Self-healing concrete. How? How does that even work?
Yeah, it does sound a bit like science fiction, doesn't it? But it's a fascinating reality. This technology involves incorporating either microcapsules containing a healing agent or specific types of bacteria directly into the concrete mix itself.
Bacteria in the concrete.
Yep. So when a crack develops and water starts to infiltrate, one of two things happens. Either these microcapsules rupture and release a material that seals the crack,
Okay.
or the water activates the dormant bacteria, which then produce a kind of mineral deposit calcium carbonate. Usually that fills the opening, naturally.
Wow, so the concrete is literally repairing itself on a microscopic level. What kind of impact could this have on, say, long-term maintenance and the lifespan of a foundation?
Oh, this has significant implications for longevity and reduced maintenance. By automatically sealing these minor cracks as they appear, self-healing concrete can drastically minimize the need for future repairs. And it helps maintain the structural integrity and waterproofness of the foundation for a much, much longer period. Think of the reduced hassle and, the potential cost savings down the line. It's pretty revolutionary.
Okay, self-healing concrete is definitely one to watch. Then there's something called crystalline waterproofing, which also sounds pretty advanced. How does that work to keep water out? Is it similar?
It's different, but also works within the concrete. Crystalline waterproofing involves applying a sterilized chemical compound, usually as a slurry or a dry shake, to the concrete surface. This compound then reacts with any moisture present inside the concrete,
Okay.
as well as the byproducts of cement hydration, things like calcium hydroxide, to form these insoluble crystals. These crystals grow and effectively fill the microscopic pores and hairline cracks within the concrete structure itself.
So it's not just a surface coating like paint, it's actually changing the internal structure of the concrete to make it waterproof.
Precisely. It creates a permanent, impenetrable barrier against water migration from within the concrete itself. It becomes part of the concrete matrix.
Wow.
And what's also really noteworthy is that this technology can be used in both new construction, right from the start, and also to enhance the waterproofing of existing foundations that might be having issues.
That's a really versatile solution then. Okay, let's go even smaller down to the nanoscale with nanotechnology coatings. What benefits do these microscopic treatments offer?
Yeah, nanotechnology coatings are ultra-thin layers that work right at the molecular level. They essentially create a highly hydrophobic, meaning water-repelling surface that pushes water molecules away on a microscopic scale. Imagine a surface where water just physically cannot adhere or spread out.
So water just beads up instantly and rolls right off. What are some of the advantages there beyond just, repelling the water?
Well, one key advantage is that many of these nanocoatings are breathable.
Breathable? How does that work?
It means they allow water vapor moisture in the air from inside the basement to escape outwards, but they don't let liquid water come in. This is really crucial for preventing trapped moisture behind the coating and potential issues like mold growth.
Ah, okay. So it lets the wall breathe, so to speak.
Exactly. They also tend to be quite resistant to UV radiation, which can degrade other types of coatings over time, especially if used externally, and they can be quite durable and relatively easy to apply to various surfaces, both inside and out.
Interesting. Okay, so we've talked about keeping water out physically and even concrete that heals itself. But what about proactively monitoring for potential problems before they become major issues? We've actually started using smart water sensors on some of our DGI projects.
Yes, and these are fantastic little devices. They're small, strategically placed sensors that can detect even minute amounts of moisture. We can install them in areas that are, historically prone to leaks, or maybe just areas with high humidity like crawl spaces or near the sump pump pit.
Right.
And similar to the smart sump pumps we talked about, these sensors can send alerts directly to your smartphone if moisture is detected. This allows for really early intervention before any significant water damage occurs.
That early detection seems like it could save homeowners a lot of trouble and expense down the road. And you mentioned these can sometimes integrate with existing home security systems. Is that common?
Yes, that integration is becoming more common. It provides an added layer of security and, honestly, convenience. by centralizing your home monitoring.
Hmm.
So a moisture sensor triggering an alert could be part of a broader notification system you might already have in place for security or fire.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, shifting gears a bit. Proper drainage around the foundation is always, always critical. What new approaches or improvements are we seeing in how we manage water runoff outside the house?
There's definitely a growing emphasis on more sustainable and effective stormwater management techniques. Things like permeable pavers and landscaping materials are becoming increasingly popular.
Permeable pavers, how do they work?
They look like regular pavers, but they have gaps between them, or they're made of a porous material. They allow rainwater to filter down into the ground naturally, right where it falls, instead of sheeting off across the surface.
Uh-huh.
This reduces surface runoff and really cuts down the potential for water to pool up around the foundation.
Hmm.
It's more about working with the natural water cycle rather than just fighting it.
So it's a more integrated approach to managing water rather than just trying to pipe it all away as fast as possible.
Exactly. And of course, we're also seeing continued advancements in traditional exterior drainage systems too. This includes using larger, more durable piping materials and really paying close attention to proper grading to ensure that water is efficiently directed well away from the home's foundation. Those basics are still vital.
Right, the fundamentals still matter. Now, it sounds like sometimes the most effective solution involves combining different approaches. Is that where hybrid drainage systems come into play?
Precisely. Hybrid systems really recognize that every single property is unique. You've got different soil conditions, different slopes, different potential water sources, groundwater, surface water. So by combining interior solutions, think sump basins, interior trench drains along the footing, with exterior methods like French drains, maybe those waterproof membrane wraps we discussed, we can create a much more robust and adaptable defense against water intrusion. It's tailored to the specific needs and challenges of your home.
So it's really about creating layers of defense, addressing potential water issues both from the inside and the outside for maximum protection.
That's the goal, yeah. A multi-pronged approach.
Now, as we think about all these new technologies, sustainability is increasingly important, isn't it? We've been exploring some eco-friendly waterproofing options here at DGI as well. What does that look like?
Sustainability is definitely a key consideration for us, and I think for the industry as a whole now. We're seeing more widespread adoption of solutions like permeable paving and rain gardens, which, as we just discussed, help manage stormwater in a much more environmentally responsible way. Green roofs are another example you sometimes see, helping to reduce runoff and even insulate the building.
And it's not just about how we manage the water itself, right? It's also about the materials we use and maybe the energy efficiency of the systems.
Correct. We're seeing more energy-efficient sump pump models hitting the market, which is great. And even the emergence of solar-powered backup options for sump pumps, reducing reliance on the grid during power outages.
Oh, interesting. Solar backup.
Yeah. Additionally, there's a growing focus within the industry on using recycled and sustainable materials in the manufacturing of waterproofing products themselves, membranes, sealants, drainage components. It all helps to minimize the environmental footprint of the work we do.
That's good to hear. Now, for those really challenging situations, maybe very high water tables or just where maximum protection is absolutely needed, it sounds like there are some seriously high-performance waterproofing membranes available now. What makes these next-generation barriers so effective?
These membranes are really engineered for the toughest conditions. They're often self-adhesive, which ensures a really tight bond, and possess exceptional flexibility, again, to accommodate any foundation movement without failing.
Well, a critical feature is their ability to create that very tight bond with the foundation surface. This provides a highly effective barrier against not just moisture, but often also soil gases like radon, which is another basement concern for many homeowners.
Right, radon is a big one too.
And some of these advanced membranes even incorporate integrated drainage channels right into the membrane itself to further enhance water management behind the membrane, directing it down towards the drainage system.
That's a serious level of protection, kind of an all-in-one system. It's impressive how these materials have evolved. Now, shifting back to identifying problems sometimes, just seeing the potential issue can be tricky, especially high up or around complex landscaping. I saw something about using drones for inspections. How does that fit in?
Yeah, drone technology is proving to be a surprisingly valuable tool for exterior inspections. Drones equipped with high-resolution cameras can quickly and, importantly, safely survey things like roof lines, gutters, downspouts, and the surrounding landscaping.
From above. Exactly. They can identify potential drainage issues, blockages, areas where water might be pooling, or improperly directed things that might be hard to spot from the ground. It's a non-invasive method that's particularly useful for inspecting those hard-to-reach areas and just getting a really comprehensive overview of the property's drainage situation quickly.
That's a really innovative use of tech for this field.
Yeah.
Okay, now what about moisture that doesn't necessarily come from direct leaks or surface water, but actually rises up from the ground? We deal with that quite a bit here in certain soil conditions, right? Rising damp.
Absolutely. That's where vapor barriers and capillary breaks become crucial. Capillary action is the natural tendency for water to be drawn upwards through porous materials like concrete or masonry.
Like a sponge.
Kind of, yeah. Capillary breaks are typically installed beneath concrete slabs, often a layer of gravel or a special membrane, to literally break that upward draw of moisture from the soil. Vapor barriers, often thick plastic sheeting, are typically applied to interior foundation walls, or under slabs too, acting as a further barrier to prevent this rising damp from entering the basement living space.
Okay.
These are particularly important in areas with high water tables or those clay-rich soils that tend to hold a lot of moisture.
So it's really about creating a physical separation to block that upward movement of moisture from the ground itself.
Correct. Stopping it before it gets into the structure.
And one last really interesting development, I noted systems that actually combine waterproofing with pest control. Tell me about that.
Yeah, these are some pretty innovative integrated systems that offer dual functionality.
Mm.
They essentially provide a robust barrier against water intrusion, maybe a specialized membrane or coating, but they also incorporate pest control measures right into the system.
Like what kind of pests? Specifically targeting common foundation pests, like termites, sometimes ants, even rodents that might try to burrow near the foundation. It might be a material that pests can't chew through, or one that's treated with a repellent.
Huh.
It's a smart way to address two potential major homeowner headaches simultaneously, offering long-term protection against both water damage and pest infestations with one installation.
That's definitely an efficient way to handle things. Two birds, one stone, kind of. Now, thinking about the timing of all this, we often advise our clients here at DGI that fall can be a particularly good time to think about basement waterproofing. Why is that from our perspective?
Yeah, that's generally good advice. As we move into the fall season, we typically experience more stable, often drier weather patterns compared to, say, the spring melt or heavy summer thunderstorms. And it's before the really harsh winter conditions set in with freezing temperatures and potential snowmelt issues.
So this period provides a good window of opportunity to properly assess any existing issues and address waterproofing needs without the immediate pressure of dealing with active, heavy rainfall or frozen ground. It's really about proactively preparing your home and your foundation for the wetter, colder seasons ahead.
Makes sense. Get it done before winter hits.
Exactly. And of course, we're always here at DGI Waterproofing, ready to help you take advantage of this optimal time for assessing and enhancing your home's protection.
Absolutely. So, as you can probably hear, the world of basement waterproofing in, well, 2024 and beyond is constantly evolving. It's a lot more dynamic than many people might think.
Definitely.
From smart tech that keeps you in the loop 24/7 to materials with almost sci-fi capabilities like self-healing, it's all about providing better, more effective, and increasingly more sustainable solutions for your home.
And what's really exciting for us, working at DGI, is being able to integrate these advancements into the services we offer. We're committed to using these cutting-edge technologies to provide you with the most up-to-date and comprehensive protection available. It really is about giving you not just a quick fix, but lasting peace of mind.
Exactly. Lasting peace of mind. That's the goal. So, if any of these new technologies have piqued your interest, or maybe just made you think about the current state of your own basement's defenses, we'd love to hear from you.
Please reach out.
We're always happy to chat about your specific situation, your home's needs, and how some of these innovations might be able to help protect your investment. You can find all our contact information right there on our website at dgiwaterproofing.ca.
That's dgiwaterproofing.ca.
Thanks again for tuning into UnderCover, Waterproofing and Underpinning Secrets. We'll be back soon with more insights from under the surface. Until then, stay dry.
Stay dry, everyone.